MK7, one of the things that you said to me on that very first day, and I wrote it here, you said it's one of the most important vitamins you could supplement. I know you used the analogy of the traffic cop, which I'll let you elaborate on, but you know, a lot of people don't understand it or really know about it, so I'm excited to be able to share this information with folks. It is a crucial supplement.
Well, calcium, it's like everything in life. There's sort of, what do they say, a two-edged sword?
Yes.
Whatever giveth, taketh away.
Right.
That calcium is something that's absolutely essential for our joints, and the repository for calcium in our body is in our joints, in our bones, and the repository of calcium, where the reservoir for calcium is our bones. But at the same time, calcium can be found and should be found in other tissues. It's necessary to be present in every single cell in our body. But if too much calcium is deposited in tissues that it shouldn't belong in or doesn't belong in, then we have calcification. And calcification is a very dangerous process when it comes to our blood vessels, specifically our arteries. So what's exciting about vitamin K2 MK7, the initial research on it, everyone was focused on what a wonderful tool this is to stimulate calcium depositing, the deposition of calcium in our bones, so our bones retain the calcium they need to stay strong. But then, as usual, as we often find out with products, there was a secondary benefit that I view as even more important. And that secondary benefit is the fact that it's such a strong message to retain calcium in the bones that it makes sure that that calcium doesn't get deposited where it doesn't belong. In other words, the analogy you gave about it sort of being like a traffic cop, and as you can see, there's soft gel capsules, but it directs vitamin K2 MK7 is responsible for directing calcium to be retained in the tissues that it's required in our bones to maintain their strength and integrity over the course of our lifetime, which is a wonderful additional tool, a wonderful discovery. And at the same time, K2 MK7 is a strong message to make sure that calcium doesn't end up finding its way, which one way or another will, in all of us, into our arteries or other tissues, causing calcification. So as I said before, vitamin D and calcium absolutely critical for our bones. Vitamin K2 MK7, in my mind, even more important, breathing life into those nutrients. But in terms of heart health, vascular health, because again, our coronary arteries, we want to keep them healthy. We don't want them elastic and flexible. We don't want them calcified. And a great study that was recently published, even just a few months of the level of vitamin K2 MK7 in a single capsule of this product, the flexibility of arteries was already observed. So just a few months. And the flexibility of arteries was increased. Why? Because of the reduction in calcification. Right. So again, I could spend an hour or two talking about the importance of this product, and I seem to be alone discussing it for the last decade because it really hasn't caught on that much with other supplement companies. Right. You can find it online, but it's such an important product, and I encourage everyone to do further research or to try it.
You know, the Lone Ranger, truly. But Andrew, this is something certainly you've done for many, many years in terms of really be the voice of the latest science and research and trying to help bring that information to life. I'd love to read just a couple reviews on set which kind of further reinforce what Andrew's saying, because folks just like you and me hearing Andrew talk about it for the very first time. This particular review is from Patty, and she starts off by saying, "My doctor approves. I read an article on MSN about what doctors did for their health. Smart. One of the things was taking a vitamin K2 supplement. I researched it and found that it was excellent for heart and bone health. I called my family doctor about it and he gave his approval, so I got it from our trusted vitamin source, Andrew Lessman. And now hubby and I both take it. We're considered elderly in age, but we don't want to feel old. Thanks, Andrew, another winner." I'll do one more. Fantastic. I'm so glad you're making this vitamin. My doctor said everybody should be taking it. We need it to keep the calcium in the right places, like our bones and not in our arteries. I can't thank Andrew enough. I only trust vitamins from Andrew because he puts no added fillers or ingredients that we don't need. This one is a winner. Thanks again. Andrew, this goes back to what you have always said. It doesn't matter if the folks watching buy these products, it's about taking in and absorbing the information that we're giving out.
This is, as those two charts said, their doctors told them how important it is. This is a critically important vitamin. It is not available in our food unless you're in Japan eating certain fermented foods. So unfortunately, the only way you're going to get the benefits of vitamin K2, it bears no relationship to vitamin K1, which relates to blood clotting. This is vitamin K2 MK7, which relates to calcium utilization. So again, and the importance is not just for bone health, but now we know for cardiovascular and heart health as well. I can't underscore and emphasize its importance. I encourage everyone, as I said before, to do research. And it's for what it is, it's an affordable product.
Yes.
But at the potency of this product, I take 1 capsule per day,
right.
But at the potency of this product, even if you took 1 capsule every other day, you are still embracing the benefits of the research. So then at 1 capsule every other day, it becomes about a dime a day, and that's incredibly affordable.
The largest size at 360 caps is just $89.90, free shipping and of course flex pay. We're gonna head over this way to our next item, something that we love talking about. A wonderful discovery for all of us that are fans of Andrew, his Soleil sunscreen. We all need to wear sunscreen in the summer. We know that.